Virginia Apgar noticed something odd. CNN in the 1930s and 1940s. Dr. Despite the U.S. infant mortality rate decreasing overall, a high number of infants were still dying within 24 hours of birth. Part of the problem was that there was no standard of comparison for newborns. Babies often went home with undiagnosed problems. Apgar challenged this practice and set the foundations of neonatology when she created the Apgar score in 1952, according to the U.S. National Library of Medicine. This scoring system, which has since saved countless babies, evaluates newborns' health on 5 factors: heart rate, respiration, skin color, muscle tone, and reflexes. The test is conducted in the first 5 minutes after birth, allowing doctors to determine which babies need immediate care. Apgar even linked the scores to infant mortality. The lowest scoring babies had a mortality rate of 14% compared to 13% for the highest scoring babies. Read more. The Apgar score was quickly adopted by hospitals across the U.S. and is credited for lowering the national infant mortality rate. Photos. Women who changed the world with science. Sally Ride, 1951 to 2012. Sally Ride gained fame as America's first astronaut in space. It later spread worldwide. But many other women who contributed to science, medicine, and technology never got much recognition outside their own fields. Writes Rachel Swaby in her book, Headstrong, 52 Women Who Changed Science and the World. Click through the gallery to learn more about some of these female pioneers. Hide caption. One of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Virginia Apgar, 1909 to 1974. This pioneer and anesthesiologist developed the Apgar score: appearance, pulse, grimace, activity, respiration, a well-known system to evaluate the health of newborn babies. Hide caption. 2 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Dr. Jane Cook Wright, 1919 to 2013. This physician became the director of the Cancer Research Foundation at Harlem Hospital by age 33. Wright studied chemotherapy with human tissue samples rather than mice and developed chemotherapy delivery method by way of catheter. Hide caption. 3 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Rita Levi Montalcini, 1909 to 2012. Levi Montalcini constructed a clandestine basement research laboratory in Italy during World War II for nerve cell research using chicken embryos. She and her collaborator, Stanley Cohen, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1986. Hide caption. 4 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Augusta Ada, Countess Lovelace, 1815 to 1852. Her methods of commanding an analytical machine to return numbers created what is considered the world's first computer program. The computer language Ada was named after this 19th century mathematician. Hide caption. 5 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Dr. Chen Xiangwu, 1912 to 1997. A physicist, Wu was the first recipient of the Wolf Prize in Physics. She worked on the Manhattan Project by assisting in separating uranium isotopes U-235 and U-238 by gaseous diffusion. Wu also helped prove the hypothetical law of conservation of parity invalid. Hide caption. 6 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Amelie Emmy Noether, 1882 to 1935, a German-born mathematician. Noether was a co-founder of abstract algebra despite discrimination because of her gender, weight, and Jewish ancestry, according to Swaby. Einstein described her as the most significant mathematical genius thus far produced since the higher education of women began. Hide caption. 7 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Hedy Lamarr, 1913-2000, born Hedwig Kiesler in Austria. Lamarr was already a famous movie star in 1941 when she devised a frequency-hopping communications technology, one resistant to enemy jamming, to guard Allied torpedoes during World War II. The technology was applied commercially more than 3 decades later in wireless cash registers and barcode readers. Hide caption. 8 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Ruth Benarito, 1916 to 2013. The New Orleans-born chemist developed a means of making durable, wrinkle-free cotton that essentially saved the struggling cotton industry after the invention of polyester and other synthetic fabrics. Hide caption. 9 of 16 photos. Women who changed the world with science. Lynn Margulis, 1938 to 2011. This American biologist wrote a paper based on her idea that cells cooperate and form symbiotic relationships rather than competitive ones. Her paper was rejected 15 times before it was published, as was previously thought. Height caption 10 of 16 photos Women Who Changed the World with Science Dr. Barbara McClintock, a leader in genetics research. McClintock used corn to develop understanding of transposition, the idea that genes turn physical characteristics on and off. Unrecognized for years, she received the 1983 Nobel Prize for Medicine at age 81. Height caption 11 of 16 photos Women Who Changed the World with Science. Elsie Whittleson, 1908 to 2000. In 1934, Whittleson found that iron was absorbed through the skin rather than excreted. The British chemist and dietitian published The Chemical Composition of Foods with a groundbreaking 15,000 food nutritional values in 1940 along with research partner Robert McCanns. She studied the effects of fluid and salt on the body and kidneys and created bread designed to combat malnutrition during World War II. Height caption 12 of 16 photos Women Who Changed the World with Science. Dr. Alice Hamilton, 1869 to 1970, born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hamilton was a pioneer in the field of toxicology. She researched the effects of lead poison on factory workers, isolated a typhoid fever outbreak in 1922, and lent her expertise to help crack down on the sale of cocaine to children in Chicago during the 1920s. She was the first female faculty member of Harvard Medical School. Height caption 13 of 16 photos Women Who Changed the World with Science. Alice Catherine Evans, 1881 to 1975. Evans studied 2 strains of bacteria that caused severe health problems among cattle. Before her research, the 2 strains were considered entirely separate. Evans discovered that the bacteria in question, Bacillus abortus and Micrococcus melitensis, were not only related but were capable of affecting humans as well. The strains are now combined under one genus, Brucellosis. Height caption 14 of 16 photos Women Who Changed the World with Science. Grace Murray Halper, 1906 to 1992. Halper coined the term computer bug when she found a moth physically in her computer. Naval Reserve as a mathematician despite being physically unqualified. Halper joined the U.S. She wrote a 561-page manual on the Mark I, a 51-foot-long, 5-ton computer. She designed the first compiler, known as AO, which simplified binary code. Height caption 15 of 16 photos Women Who Changed the World with Science. Mary Cartwright, 1900 to 1998, senior with fellow mathematician Charles Poe. Cartwright combined previous equations to solve scattered radio frequencies. She dabbled in chaos theory, a mathematical study focusing on the behavior of dynamic systems that change wildly based on small differences in initial conditions. Height caption 16 of 16 author Rachel Swaby, who wrote about Apgar in her book Headstrong, 52 Women Who Changed Science and the World, told CNN in 2015, the Apgar score was a huge public health breakthrough. Virginia Apgar had such amazing energy and such an energetic mind. Apgar, who died in 1974, had her 109th birthday marked by Google on Thursday. The Google Doodle honored her life and legacy, which were remarkable for her time. Medical schools in the early 1900s didn't often accept female students, and separate women's schools couldn't provide the same level of education. Only a fraction of the physicians in the U.S. when Apgar entered medical school were women. Undaunted, she graduated 4th in her class at the College of Physicians and Surgeons at Columbia University and switched to anesthesiology after her surgical residency. For 11 years she directed the anesthesia division at New York's Presbyterian Hospital and became the first female full-time professor at Columbia in 1949. American Dr. Virginia Apgar, newly appointed head of the Division of Congenital Malformations at the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, March of Dimes, June 1959. Apgar never lost her ambition even after publishing the Apgar score. She went on to earn a master's degree in public health and lead the Department of Congenital Defects at the March of Dimes, winning several awards along the way. She was also fiercely independent until the end. She never married, once saying, "It's just that I haven't found a man who can cook." She died at the age of 65 from liver cirrhosis and in 1995 was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. Chris Davison contributed to this report.